Hello everybody and welcome to today's VETRAC weekly Wednesday webinar. My name's Paul Vandenberg. I'm the Development Manager here at VETRAC, and we're going to be looking today at the VETRAC Student and Trainer Portals version 2.1. 2.1 is being released today. It's available on the website for people to download or install from today. Okay, let's get into it. We'll do a bit of a precursor bit before we get to the demonstration. First of all, for those who are new to the portal environment, we'll give a quick rundown of what the VETRAC student portals are. The VETRAC student portal allows your students to access information in VETRAC about their training via a web browser. Students can enter their USI, view current or future enrolments, view their schedule, including the classes and other events, see their training progress for units and tasks, upload files and documents against their units and tasks, and see their awarded qualifications and see a log of all emails and SMSs that have been sent to them. Now, I'll just make sure I've actually started recording this. Yes, that's good. Occasionally I forget. The trainer portal, the trainer can view details of the clients, events and classes for which they're associated, record attendance, unit results and task statuses, upload and download files and documents, communicate with students via SMS or email through VETRAC, view and edit student details, view, add and edit events, and record student and trainer signatures to verify attendance. So what's new in version 2.1? Well, 2.1 has a few new goodies, which are a result specifically of the feedback that we received from the last webinar on version 2.0. 2.1 has the ability for trainers and VETRAC users to allocate URLs for tasks and units as well as files. So you can specify a web address to some web page or as we'll see today, a YouTube video or something like that, and it becomes available for that student to see. The ability for, and also I should say, for students can also allocate the URLs for tasks and units, not just trainers. The ability for VETRAC users to allocate and distribute a set of files and URLs for tasks and units. This is probably the biggest change in 2.1 and is certainly something that we'll spend a bit of time looking at today. The ability for trainers to receive email notifications when a student has uploaded a file, that will happen with version 4.4.6.0, which is set for release on the 1st of April. So in a couple of weeks, we'll have this email notification system. You obviously need 2.1 of the trainer and student portal and version 4460 of VETRAC for the both of them to work together. But the functionality is there in 2.1, it just needs just some configuration from 446. The ability for trainers to endorse attendance with or without student signatures being collected. We've relaxed the rule around trainer endorsements for attendance so that you don't necessarily need to collect signatures at all, or you don't necessarily need to collect any of those signatures. We will be looking at expanding trainer endorsement for other areas such as unit results and events and tasks, whatever they may be, in the future. Currently they're not in 2.1. That might be something for 2.2 or beyond. Let's keep going. Who can use the portals? So the trainer and student portal is available for customers on professional or enterprise licenses. It's available for hosted and non-hosted customers. Locally installed customers will need Windows Server 2008 or later and Internet Information Server 7 or later. Locally installed customers will be charged a $500 one-off branding and setup fee for the student portal. In fact, that's a change. I've copied this from a previous I need to check that actually, whether it's locally and hosted. I have a feeling it's just a one-off fee for both now. The per user license for the trainer portal has been removed. So there is now no longer a cost per user for the trainer portal. Can I test it out? Yes, there is a demo at demo.vtportal.com.au/trainer student portal and the same trainer portal. Other webinars. There are several other webinars that should be viewed in conjunction with this webinar, because this webinar is only looking at the new features in 2.1. You certainly should specifically have a look at the webinar with the new features of version 2.0, because this will build upon those if you haven't seen them already. Okay, let's get into it. Close that off. Okay, what we have done is that we've added in some new functionality in 2.1 to allow you to distribute a set of files for units and tasks. So this is bringing more in a line with, I suppose, a simple LMS type functionality. Up till version 2.1, you've needed to basically associate the document with the student's unit and the student's task for it to be available, which meant for an enrolment, a course of 10 students, it was repeating the same process over and over again just to make a set of files available. We've made a change in that we can now distribute a set of documents. Let's have a look at how this looks in VETRAC for a start. So here's a VETRAC I prepared earlier. We'll go, for example, first of all, we'll have a look at both units and tasks. So first of all, we'll look at tasks. So if I'm in the configuration manager in VETRAC, and if I scroll down and find tasks and expand that, I have a task called Tool Safety Test. And if I edit this task, I can see the details of the task. Looks just as normal. The difference here, or not difference I suppose, one is the thing is that this little button down the bottom here, if you have FileTrack and the FileTrack add-on for VETRAC, which for the portals specifically you should have, is that this button becomes enabled. If I click this button, what we can see is I've associated three things with this task. I've associated a web page, so a web URL. So let's have a look. If I click the edit button, what I can see here is I've associated, it's of type trainer upload, so both of the trainer upload and student upload make them visible in the portals. It has a file location URL, so here's the URL for a web page. I've given it a name, Canadian Centre for OH&S, and I've given a description saying information about tool safety. The task is called Tool Safety Test, mind you, so appropriate thing. Here is a DocDB. So what I've done here is that I've associated a document with a location. So I've uploaded a document into the document database. So this is the general Tool Safety Test, and I've given a description saying complete after viewing web pages. Fair enough. And the third one is that I've uploaded another URL. This one happens to be to a YouTube video. So hand tool safety video, it's a YouTube video on how to use hand tool safely. Duration is approximately 2 minutes. So I've just added some notes in there. If you've never added documents or web URLs to these type of things before, there's a little button here for the add. If I click add, you can then select the type. You can select the link style. Is it a web URL or a DocDB? You give it the name of the path, a description name, a descriptive name I suppose, and some notes about it. These can all be removed. You can click the cross and remove them. You can add extras, whatever you might like to do. So what I've done is associated specifically some documents and URLs for this task. Similarly, if I go to the qualifications manager and if I look up toy over here, so easy way for me to be able to find these is instead of having to scroll through heaps. So for example, demonstrate the use of, I think I did on hand tools in a safe and considerate manner. If I edit this unit, Again, what I've got is the button down here, and we can see is that I've uploaded the same documents. In this case, there's a URL, a document, and the YouTube video against this unit. So you can do it for either tasks or units. You can do both. There's no reason why not. But it's basically saying for this unit of competence, if it was a unit of competence, these are the documents and URLs I want to associate with that. Okay, that's the setup part. So what you would do here is that the person who was, I suppose, looking to distribute a set of files, it's done in VETRAC. So it's not done through the trainer portal. It's obviously not done through the student portal. You do it in VETRAC to take the documents and associate them with the specific unit or task that is being made available through the student portal. So we'll leave VETRAC there for the moment so you can see that I've got those things set up. Down here, what I've got is a student portal, and I've logged in as Nathan. I think it's Nathan Nerdy. We'll make sure this hasn't timed out. I did connect to it a moment ago. It may ask me to log in. Here we are, Nathan Nerdy. So Nathan Nerdy is in here, and we've got his dashboard, which has got everything here. We have made another change in here as well. So you'll notice if I click on a class and it brings up the window here, we've separated this out so that the details of the class, who the staff member is, where the location is, what's the address, the map is here as well, which isn't loading up. Oh, it's still looking it up. Specifically, if there are units which are associated with this class, we've added these in now so that you can see what units are associated with that class for the student. So this was a request made for us to put in, so we've added this in 2.1, so you can now see the units that are associated with that specific class. Okay, let's get to where we're trying to get. So let's look at courses here. I'm going to click on the courses tab. Here's our certificate in toy making. So if you remember from the last portal webinar, this was our course that we were working with. If I click more, I get the details of it, and I get the window here for units and tasks. So there's been a few extra buttons here. So there's this add web link button, which we'll go through in a minute. There's the upload file button, which was there previously, so a student can upload a file. They can also add a web link, for example. And then we have the view files button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the unit which we associated those documents and web URLs with. Demonstrate the use of hand tools in a safe and considerate manner. When I load this up, I can see that the student hasn't uploaded any documents against this unit, but there is another tab here called Distributed Files. If I click on the Distributed Files button, what it does is it looks through and sees what are the distributed web URLs and documents associated with that unit. So here I have the Canadian Tool Safety page. It's got a web address which has been shortened. It's been uploaded by VETRAC Tracker, the person who was logged in as VETRAC. And the notes here are please view this first. There's a button here to open that link. If I scroll down to the next one, there is the General Tool Safety Test. So this was the document that I associated with. There is a link here to download that file. Again, there's some notes there, complete after viewing the web pages. And again, here's another one, the tool safety video with a web address, and this is the YouTube video, and it says watch this first. So if I click the button, so open link, it will open up a new browser window, and the URL will start playing. It happens to be this hand tool safety techniques training video from someone. One I picked at random there. We'll close it off. If I go to the top one, if I click the link here for the Canadian Tool Safety webpage, open that up, it opens up a web page that I've made the link for. So OHS answer fact sheets, here's one that we've linked to. After doing that, and the students viewed both of those pages, they may go to the safety test. They can click the download file. They get the message of what do they want to do with this. They can open the file. If they open the file with Word, it will then open up. And here's the tool safety test, which might be something that they then do. So as we showed in the webinar for Portal 2.1, you know, they make changes, do things, so you'd have to enable editing, obviously, for that to happen. You know, maybe it's that they make things bold or whatever it might be in here, and then save it, and then upload it. So if they did that, and I'll say no, don't save, then what they then can do is that they can then upload the new file and against, whoops, this one here, they would upload the new file in this one, which would then be set against their specific task. So it doesn't make it available for anybody else. It's only because that student has uploaded that file. That's demonstrated in version 2.0 of the webinar. So certainly if you need some more instruction about how to do that, certainly please have a look at the previous webinar on version 2.0. Similarly, if I go to the Tasks tab, again, if you're using Tasks and we have the Tool Safety Test, if I click on View Files, I get the same thing, Distributed Files, excuse me, again, web address, again, the general Tool Safety Test, and again, the Hand Tool Safety video, because back in VETRAC, these were uploaded against this task. So when we look at the things here, whatever is being added against that task will display in the distributed files window in the student portal for that task. What we think this is going to do is provide you with a very quick and easy way to distribute a set of documents and a set of web URLs to the student based upon their enrolment. Obviously, if they're not enrolled in that task or if they're not enrolled in that unit, they don't get links to those documents or web URLs. If they do have an enrolment for that task or unit, they will then get the links. So what you can do is you can provide a standard set of documents, files and web URLs for specific tasks and units so that the student automatically gets them because they have an enrolment in that task or unit. Really quite a simple way of making this distributed file system easy to manage for an RTO, easy to manage for the administrators to basically make sure that those documents are there and available. So what VETRAC's really not doing here is it's not providing a way of managing that web content in that you can't, you know, there's no interface to manage the, you know, what's in the URL or anything like that. It's really, you might be pointing to, well, you're always pointing to, I suppose, external sources of information. So they might be external web URLs for your LMS. They might be just a collection of web files. They may be a collection of documents. So when you want to update that document, you update the document, the student automatically gets the new document. So from a student perspective, this is as a, I suppose, a separate part to any document which might be given to the student specifically through the trainer portal as such. So let's just have a quick look at that, how this kind of works in the trainer portal. So the trainers don't see the distributed files, so there's no reason for the trainer to be able to see those. So, you know, if I go, for example, if I'm looking for Nathan up here, Nathan, if I click search, let's try this one. So it's actually Nerdy. I needed to search by their surname. That's what I was missing. So if I go to Nathan Nerdy, if I look at Nathan's, you know, enrollment here, if I look at the task, for example, so we don't see that in the trainer portal the documents that have been distributed. So there's no method for that to happen. It's really for the student's benefit, not for the trainer's benefit. So from a trainer's perspective, even if I go view files, it will come up with that there are no items to display because you don't get the distributed version, or you get the ones that have been specifically made available. So if for us, I suppose in the case here, the student would get a set of distributed files. If the trainer needed to give them a file specifically, or said, hey, add this web link, so here's the new function here of add a web link, they might say, go to, allow, there might be something here, look, might be, extra tool information, safety information, and there'd be some, URL. So I'll just make up a vetrac.com.au, for example, and say, hi, Nathan, please review this extra stuff. Exclamation. Add the web link. So this is a new function in here to be able to do this. So that's now been added in. So Timmy Trainer's added that in. And if I click close, so that's been added in for Nathan to be able to do that. If I switch back over to Nathan, if I go now, if we've got the tool safety test, if I click on view files here, I've got your files, the extra tool safety information uploaded by Trainer. Here's the URL uploaded by Timmy Trainer. Hi Nathan, please review this extra stuff. Open link. So any documents or links that the trainer's added will appear in the your files. Any that have been distributed as the set of files appear in the distributed files. So there are two sections here to try and separate that out. So Nathan knows that he's getting something extra that's not specifically, that is specifically for him. So that all works really quite nicely. Again, if Nathan's in here and he wants to add a web link of he's taken a photo of something and saved it the photo bucket, or if he's added a YouTube video of what he's done and wants to add a web link, he can add a web link as well. That will appear in the Trainer portal. So I could go enter a name for this web link, my extra stuff, and and it might be www. I'll just use the same address because I'm not very imaginative. Here's my extra stuff. Okay, add the web link. There it goes. Okay, I've got to put the whole HTTP in. My fault. There we go, add web link. Okay, rebuilding page. So if I look in here, tasks, view files, there's my extra stuff, here's my extra stuff, and there's the stuff that's been put in by the trainer. If I flick back to the trainer portal, and if I go for this, view files, then I get my extra stuff that Nathan's uploaded, and I get the extra tool information that's been sent. Simple as that. Now, we do get the question occasionally, where does this stuff live in Vetrac? It's a good question. So let's have a look. Let's go to the Program Manager, for example. So what I've got here, here's my toy making. If I look at, for example, Nathan, and if I flick to Documents, if I go to Tasks, and if I go Safety, here are the two files that have been uploaded. Now what I've done here is I've dragged the notes pane from the bottom over here so that I've got a bit of an extra view. You can drag these around Vetrac. They're reasonably easy to do. You can move them to wherever you like, so that's where they kind of normally sit, but I've moved it there to make it kind of more visible, and then you can obviously move that around as well. So that's where they live for each of those for each of those bits there. So you can see that there are documents which have been associated with that task, and they've been set here in against that student's task in VETRAC. Now, as far as the units go, I think if you do the include subordinate files here, it will show the units ones underneath there as well. So that's, I suppose, one of the things here is that you can also do this from here as well. So if you needed to distribute something for, you know, Nathan's task, so maybe I might pick a different task, so SAFE02, and you were wanting to add a document, for example, here, or a web URL, you can do it from here as well. So within VETRAC, you can say it's a, you know, web URL. It would be a type trainer upload, you know, and it might be www. Let's say, you know, google.com.au, whatever web URL. Please, you know, probably put that in the description. So this might be some stuff about, you know, more safety stuff. As you can see, I'm not very imaginative with my things. Please review this link. Put an exclamation mark just because. So it's a web URL, file location, trainer upload. So that's now been saved in here. If I look back at Nathan, for example, and if I go to SAFE02 and click View Files, it's now appeared in here as more safety stuff with a web address, and they can open the link. Please review this link. So it's possible to do this Your Files things from both the within VETRAC and from within the trainer portal. If you're distributing the set of files, then there won't be any to display here because they haven't associated any. Then that needs to be done in VETRAC against the task or the unit in the qualifications manager. Now, what we are going to be building in is that whenever a student uploads a file, that the trainer can receive an email notification. What needs to happen there is in VETRAC version 446, in the trainer portal preferences, in the global preferences, there'll be an area where you set in what the default email address that it looks like it's coming from. So it can't come from the student's email address because we can't send it from the student's email address. It has to come from an address in your system. So it might be something like, you know, student at, you know, vetrac.com.au or student upload at vetrac.com.au. Whenever the student uploads that, whatever trainers are associated with that enrolment here against the assigned staff, then they'll get an email to say that that document's been uploaded so that they know to go and check that. So in short, that's the extra functionality that we've built into, there is one small extra bit as well, sorry, is that in the, if I go to the dashboard, if we look at the schedule, we've also added in employer events into the schedule here. So if you've got events that previously were employer events that this trainer was set against, previously they didn't show in the trainer portal, they now do. So the trainer events now show. So these are, I suppose, a few minor changes that just make life easier for trainers and for students in general. Okay, so that's really all the extra functionality that we've added in. What we might do now is just have a look at the questions as we do to see what questions we have. So let's do that. Okay, so we've got a few questions here. 2.1 will be on the download portal. It's not on at the moment, so it will be on there very shortly, possibly by the time this webinar finishes, but it will certainly be on there today. Is there any ability or future plans to make documents available to be assigned to specific classes rather than units of tasks? So what we did to start with is that we've made it so that from a powerful perspective, being able to assign the documents and web URLs to the task or unit is a powerful way to be able to distribute those files quickly. We are looking at in future of making that having a middle ground. So at the moment you can do it in 2.1 against the unit or task and have this distributed file section, or you can do it for the individual task for the individual student. I can understand that there might be requirements where for a specific occurrence you might want to put certain documents that aren't for other occurrences, or certain URLs that aren't for other occurrences. So we might be building in that functionality, I can't guarantee it, but we're looking at potentially building in that functionality to be able to have occurrence-specific documents and URLs rather than across the board, well, with across the board, that would always be there, and with the individual. So I suppose that would be a middle ground. The documents and URLs have to be associated with tasks or units. They can't just generally be associated with a class. They do get assigned specifically to a task or a unit. So, but we can work on it. Can you make the document available specifically to the trainer only, not the student? So the answer to that is no, not through the portals. The only way that that could potentially happen would be if the trainer had a login to the student portal, and then you could assign the the document to a unit or task for that trainer as a student. They'd need to have an enrollment, etc. It's not really made to do that, unfortunately. So this is really, I suppose, centered around sort of functionality about distributing a set of files or distributing a file to the student, not to the trainer as such. The trainer needs to be accessed the distributed files. I'd be interested to know to any degree why that might be. They're going to be the same distributed files for each of the those distributed units, for each of the tasks or units. We can certainly take advice on board about that. We haven't built it into this version for the trainer to be able to see the distributed files or URLs, but obviously they can in VetTrack. Can the trainers distribute a file to their class in a way that if they want to share a link with the entire class, it's not just particular students? So currently it would have to be done through VetTrack, so the trainer can't distribute a set of files or a file or a link to just a class of students. They can do it for the individual, but they can't do it for the class. Again, also, if you're in VetTrack, you can distribute it to everybody who has an enrolment in that task or unit, but not to a specific class. So the answer to that is really no. Assuming the trainer is only using the portal, how can they view these files when they're uploaded by the student? So the trainer, if the student uploads a file, so if the student makes a change, so downloads a document, which might be a test document, it could be a quiz, whatever it might be. So if the student downloads that file and makes changes and then uploads that file, then the trainer gets visible access to it. They can see it. If it's, for example, a web URL and they're doing some form of online quiz, then the answer is no. They won't be able to see it because they're not downloading anything. They're opening a link. I'll talk about a bit more about this in a moment because there is another method that we'll talk about coming. Is there a notification provided to the student when a new document or file link has been added? I have to check on that. I have a feeling that we haven't done that, but we can have a look, and that's potentially reasonably easy to do. Will the email notification only go to the primary trainer? No, it goes to anybody who's been associated with that enrolment for that unit or task. Yep. So look, if you're doing a set of documents which are being set against a unit or task, then and remembering that these are documents or links, then potentially, I suppose, they may need them if they're remote. Otherwise, they might be provided in some other ways. So, yeah, we'll see. Okay, so can you show class attendances for the new version? So you can see who's been sent. Oh, that's the other bit that I forgot to show, sorry. The other bit that I forgot to show was that if you are in the trainer portal and you go to a schedule, whoops, yep, oh, no, hang on, get that back. Trainer portal, you go to a schedule classes and, whoops, and, oh, sorry, I have to minimize this off. Action, go to class over here. If you're recording attendances, so if you're saying, you know, record attendance and you say they have attended, so this is all set to submit for QA, so so they've been marked off as present, success. Okay, so what you can see here now is that we have this updated. So the endorse attendance link is now available. There it is. So now the trainer can endorse, even if there's only one attendance and I haven't collected a signature, you can now save the signature and your endorsement's been saved. Endorsement has been endorsed. You can't re-endorse the attendance until there's been another change in attendance. So if there's then another change, you can endorse it again. You can endorse it as many times as you like. The only requirement is that there has been a change in the attendance for the class, and then the trainer can re-endorse it at any point. It's a bit more flexible than what it was, where you actually had to collect all the signatures to be able to endorse attendance. So we've made that free and up. Okay, so let's just bring this back. Okay, so what triggers the email to trainers? So the thing that triggers the email to trainers is that a student has uploaded a document or a web URL link against a task or a unit. If they do that, the trainer gets an email. Can we limit the primary email distribution to only the primary trainer? Not at the moment. Look, so the bit about showing the distributed files isn't a difficult thing for us to be able to build in. I'll take that on board. We're obviously not, you know, anti-suggestions. So all the things that we've built in have come from suggestions from you, from customers. So if it's a case where you do think that the trainer does need to see the distributed files, then we could potentially build that in. It's not going to be a potentially difficult thing. Can you tick attendances for multiples? Yes, you can. So obviously you can do that. I've just got to remember how. I don't work in the... So if I go record attendance, for example, so let's click, sorry. If I click multiple people, then I can click record attendance. Then I can say, yes, they're all present. If I submit that, for example, then they'll all be marked off as being attended. The page is reloading. When that happens, you should be able to then re-endorse, because they've been submitted for QA. That should actually come back and say that you can re-endorse the attendance. It may be because there hasn't been a time between QA. I'll have to check that one. That one might be a slight bug that we might have to work out. Okay. So, all right. So that's got to, can you select all from the button at the top? Yes, you can. So, yes, sorry, you can. So if you click on select all, it actually does that. So the select all button does work. You click on the button up there. Okay, what I'll just talk about for a moment is about other things that are happening. What you'll notice here is that really what we've got here is a fairly simple mechanism for distributing files and web URLs to students through the trainer portal and through the student portal and through using Vettrack. It's not a fully functional LMS. We're not expecting it to be a fully functional LMS. It doesn't have content management as far as web content management. It doesn't do anything around quizzes or being able to see that. We're working on these things. So what we are working on is, as another product, is the Vettrack LMS. The Vettrack LMS will be integrated with the student and trainer portals and will have that kind of content management and assessment management that you get with a fully functional LMS. What you're seeing there is not a fully functional LMS. It's providing this simple mechanism for distributing files and for being able to distribute URLs. We're expecting that there'll be some form of Vettrack LMS around the middle of the year. We'd certainly like to have it out by then. And that will basically be a new product for us. So this product that we've got here is part of the portals. If you've got Vettrack Enterprise or Vettrack Professional, you get this. You get the distributed file model. You get the document database. If you're on, you get the file track, and you can do the things that I've shown you today. The bit that is a new product is going to be the LMS, where you can manage the content and you can manage assessments in a LMS type environment. That's a different product. So this is, I suppose, the simple LMS version. This will suit a number of customers where they have a limited number of tasks and units that they deliver, that they use a file distribution method now, and what they're doing is emailing files to students and doing those sorts of things. This gives a simpler method of doing that in bulk. We think it's going to be particularly useful for customers, but certainly it's not going to cater for everybody. So the fully fledged products will be the thing that's catering for everybody. The other product that's coming out with Vettrack 4.4.6.0, the next version of Vettrack, is a Moodle authentication integration. Now, what that really is it's a plugin for Moodle that allows you from within a Moodle LMS, if you've got a Moodle LMS now, to be able to browse the list of users who live in Vettrack. So you'll see students' names. It retrieves the list of students from Vettrack. You'll be able to select those students that you want to give an enrolment to, and then you can enroll those students into a course. When the student goes to log in to Moodle, it's going to be using their Vettrack username and password to be able to access that content. So what it's allowing you to do, it will allow you to, instead of having to create the user in Vettrack with a username and password, and then create them in Moodle with a different username and password, it will allow you to get the list of students directly from Vettrack. So that's coming out in 4.4.6 for those people who already have an existing Moodle LMS and want some form of integration. The student portal and LMS will be linked. They'll be linked in that. The question here is that the Vettrack LMS will be accessed through the student portal. That will be the method that students go into to get their content and to get their quizzes and do their assessment. What it will be is that they really won't use the LMS interface. The Vettrack student portal will be the LMS interface for students. So that's going to be built in. I've got a few questions. Do we have an idea of the costing associated with the LMS? No, but it probably, and look, we haven't made decisions about costing or who it gets available to, etc. I don't have any answers for that at the moment. But certainly that is a product that we are in the throes of thrashing around and developing. So there are several other options which will be made available soon. The option that we currently have increases substantially the functionality of the student portal and the trainer portal. We basically, without going down the full road, it basically, what I suppose it does is takes a lot of the functionality that was available in FileTrack, in VETRAC, and the functionality of what was available in the student portals and integrates that much more closely, so that the FileTrack becomes a much more integrated tool about providing documents and web URLs to the students. So I've got a couple of other questions here just around this. Will the Moodle add-in have the ability to take results from Moodle to VETRAC? So this is going to be an authentication plugin in the first instance. Down the track, there may be more plugin development to bring results in from Moodle, for example. That's not currently under development. What we're developing is an authentication plugin, not a result import plugin. Partly the reason being is that Moodle has a number of different ways that it can record results. There are grades, points, various bits. There needs to be some form of mapping that occurred for that. It would be difficult for us to do. Not to say that it's not going to happen. These things, I suppose, happen in what we want to do is get a feature and release the feature so people can use it. We're constantly developing things. So as we do develop things, we will make them available. Certainly, it's a potential for those things to happen. Basically, I can't probably spell out more than that. Okay, so I think what we've reached now is probably the end of the questions. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for your feedback. Look, I do appreciate it. We're really, to some extent, road showing a lot of these features. We are interested, and certainly we do take on board the feedback that we receive from these webinars. And in fact, all the features you see today are resultant from comments and requests made through these webinars. So we are listening. We are doing that. So certainly we do appreciate everybody's input and everybody's participation in these webinars. I'll endeavour to make sure that the 2.1 version of the portals are on the website today, so that if you want to start using these features, then they are available. We'll endeavour to have the webinar up on the website also this week, so that you can review this. Please review it alongside the Trainer and Student Portal version 2.0 webinar, because together they do make a bit of a set. So that'd be great. All right, I'll leave everybody with it now. Have a good day, everybody, and the rest of the week, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Okay, thank you. Bye.